to the James Whale Show. Tonight on a Friday, it's different, of course, because we have a simulcast on television and on radio. So if you want to watch us on TV, you go to YouTube, you go to Facebook, you go to Twitter, you go to any kind of social media, put in James Whale Breaks the News, and you will find us. Let me introduce you first. Well, shall I do actually what we're going to talk about tonight? And then you can get in touch with us, and I'll introduce you to Ricky in a moment. You can tell us what your thoughts are on these subjects. So, on Breaking the News tonight, these are the subjects that have been going on in the week. This week, of course, in Brexit, we have to do that, don't we? US shootings. Here's a question. Should guns be banned? If you ban guns, would it make any difference at all? And Michael Burke, the scandal. Just let fat people die. It would save the NHS a lot of money. I always think Burke in name, Burke in nature. Now, is the UK ageist, all right? And as a really oldish person, but not as old as Johnny Gould, I shall tell you my thoughts on that a little later on. And here's another one for you. Charlie Mullins is with us here. Should we all stop eating meat? Would it make any difference? And what happens to all those lovely sheep and cows and all those animals we grow for meat? What's going to happen to them if we stop eating them? I don't know that I want to stop eating meat. You can get in touch in the usual way. You can call us, of course, as well, and maybe in the next hour or so on the radio, 03444991000 is the number. Now, Mr. Ricky is always out and about at a venue for the news. Now, Ricky, I'm not sure. I didn't realise, Vicky, that you were such a religious person.
No, I am, I know. After last week, where we talked about crazy golf in a cathedral in Rochester, I suggested that Laser Quest was going to be the next big thing, but it turns out it's a helter-skelter here in the cathedral in Norwich. I think it looks beautiful.
Well, I think that's a very good use of these ecclesiastical buildings. Is that ecclesiastical?
We know what you mean.
Yeah, anyway, those buildings, that'd be a very good use of them. Let's meet the panel tonight, ladies and gentlemen, here on Breaking the News, Mr. Johnny Gould.
Hello.
Make up your own applause, because we can't afford to do it. So, you know, when I introduce him, do a lot of applause. Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Gemma Forte. Yes, right in the middle here. I just want to call you something else. And well, no, Gemma, it's nice. And Forte reminds me of food, so we'll talk about that later. The very favourite. Now, you thought we had Rod Stewart on the show tonight. We don't. We have the CEO of Pimlico Plumbers, Mr. Charlie Mullins, OBE. Welcome to you, Charlie. Good to see you. Thank you very much indeed for coming in. Now, by the way, later, because we have found a little bit of money in the budget, we're not going to pay Ricky this week, and he had to get the bus to where he's going. So we'll be joined later by Scott Freeman, who is a singer. I'm looking down at the notes here because we haven't got an autocue. Scott Freeman, who's a singer-songwriter, and he's written a song about Boris. So that will be nice. We'll be looking forward to that, won't we?
Yeah.
Johnny, stop texting your girlfriends when we're on the air. Right?
Well, okay.
And, of course, we want your tweets as well. Ricky is there. Ricky, what do you want people to tweet you about? And
tonight we're asking 3 big questions. We'd like you to respond at talkRADIO on Twitter, Facebook Live or YouTube. We're asking, should America ban guns? Is the UK ageist? And should we stop eating meat? You can tweet us, Facebook us or YouTube us.
Right. Are you ready for that? And we've already had a tweet in. Said, could you sit up, cross your legs, and look as if you're interested? Right. OK. Fine. Shall we start with Brexit? Charlie, we're going to crash out. I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what I thought, and then you come back. I thought Brexit's the most ridiculously stupid idea I ever heard of. David Cameron should be brought back, made to kneel before, I say this every week, kneel before the nation and apologise profusely. But since we've gone through all of this, I'm now so flipping fed up with it. I think we just leave and sort them out, and I'm not happy about the way the European Parliament are treating us and behaving. So maybe France, Germany, Italy, Spain and Britain could just go it alone.
Yeah, I don't think we should just sit back and just leave and accept no deal. I think that is more important now than ever. More evidence is out there that we're going to have a tough time and possibly go into recession. So I don't think we should be sitting back. I think we should still be, you know, if we support Remain, we should still be going for that.
But what happens if they refuse, like they say they are, to negotiate?
That's right. Well, I don't think anything's changed since Theresa May days, and you know, the situation's still the same, and I don't think it will change. But I still don't believe that we'll be leaving on the 31st.
Well, last time we talked, a couple of weeks ago on my radio show, you said you think Boris is going to be a great Prime Minister.
That's right. But you know, there's other work to do other than Brexit, and I think that once we get that out of the way, unfortunately, so much time's being spent on it still. But you know, I'm still pretty convinced that we won't be leaving, and we certainly won't be leaving with no deal.
Gemma.
I'm interested to know who you think's refusing to negotiate.
Well, apparently they're not going to negotiate from Brussels' end. They say the backstop is staying, and they don't want to talk about it.
This is Dominic Cummings' propaganda coming out, you see, because
have you got inside information?
Well, the EU 100% said, here's your 6-month extension. Don't waste the time. Come back and tell us what you want and show us some detail, and we'll negotiate. So we've spent 6 months faffing about listening to Hunt and Johnson just give it the big I am the person to go and negotiate, I'm going to be amazing, and then now we've got Boris and he hasn't even been, and then of course Dominic Cummings is coming. Suddenly they're all just saying the same old thing, which is the EU, because they can blame
the EU has said, as far as I understand
I think, are
it,
just bewildered and baffled.
Well, I think the new people in the EU have said, we're not prepared to renegotiate the deal that we did with your Prime Minister, Theresa May, and that's how it stands.
But they did say, and Merkel specifically, and all of them, they're all open to, what do you want? What detail do you want to change? If you can come to us with something substantial. But we've never had any clue or idea.
I'm not sure they have said that, because we hear what they might have said from one side, we hear what they have said from another side.
But we haven't even been, and the backstop was never negotiable, because you have to be in the single market. So the very day that Theresa May said we're not going to be in the single market, that was inevitable. So sadly, everything that everybody's been saying for 3 years from the Remain side has come true, or is true, or is just factual.
But aren't you fed up with the whole lot?
No, I think I am, but I'm not fatigued by it, because it's too serious just to be like.
I agree with you.
And I think that a lot of people I know have had it. They are like, I don't even want to listen to the news anymore. It's too depressing. It's divisive in my household. But I just can't stop engaging with it, and it is like living in an episode of Black Mirror. I feel like it's like the Emperor's New Clothes. I'm looking at Boris Johnson going, you lot all believe that he's talking this old paffle, that he's going to go off to the EU and sort something out? He doesn't even have a plan. He doesn't care, and it is going to hit the very poorest in society the hardest, and there's going to be so many job losses.
I'd like to know what our viewers and listeners are thinking about this. Get in touch. Let us know what you think about what Gemma said. Is Boris that silly? Is he just not doing anything, or are they scampering around behind the scenes to do everything they can? Johnny?
The uncertainty is causing us almighty shocks. The value of the euro, the value of the dollar, only the South African rand is the place where we can go on holiday, and that's quite a long way away.
You've been there twice already this year, Johnny, I hear.
Good steak for under £7. We need some period of certainty. And however that arrives, whether it be through the shock of no deal, through the brinkmanship of a deal at the 11th and a half hour, is the day that Britain will be able to recover from 3 really terrible years.
To ourselves.
Well, I am a
absolutely
Brexiteer.
right.
Okay, I'm going to put my cards on the table, and I think I'm the only one here, including the presenter. And I believe that after 40 years of I mean, it really proves the point that we need to leave Europe.
I'm not
anyone who wants to...
Which bit?
40 years of this engagement has shown
that we've been the fifth
through
biggest
1,000
economy.
years of democracy and the Magna Carta, we have undone British sovereignty in a generation.
You'll be wanting to go back to the British Empire before
I want
long,
us to be independent. There are countries in the world who innovate, who create, unfortunately, through warfare, through defence, through the urgency of technology, that are thoroughly independent, that cannot be part of a European Union, that cannot be part of
I'll tell you what, Johnny.
An American Union, for example.
Yeah. Johnny.
Yes.
I'm a staunch Remainer, but I'm fed up with both sides now. I am absolutely sick and tired of this indecision. And if I was in charge, I would be saying, we're leaving tomorrow. We're leaving tomorrow. You sort it out. I'll give you my civil servants, you have your civil servants, sort out a free trade deal, and let's get on with it, because I'm afraid David Cameron has brought this country nearly to its knees.
I totally agree with you.
Also,
we've had that period of really terrible uncertainty which has caused this. It must stop. Go down any street, any Victorian street, right, and
Can
see...
we not go back to your childhood?
No.
Please, can we stay where we are?
I just want to talk about the infrastructure that is here, what has been built in the last 15 years since the millennium. Okay,
Loads of stuff with money from the European Union.
And from the globalised world.
Wales would not be doing...
no control... There has been no control.
Well, that is the
over
fault
global
of our
money.
politicians.
Yes,
surely.
correct.
Gemma,
And finally,
stick in. Don't let them
finally,
talk.
there
3
has
years
to be.
ago, if you'd said, like, OK, vote Leave, it's going to mean that we crash out off a cliff edge. So 40 years of deals that have been done, and that we have these alliances, and from data to medical science to research to trade to everything, our money,
I would absolutely
security.
vote for that. You're talking it up for me.
Let's just implode that and then be this little minnow that has to go and start again.
But Gemma, you
when
have
the
to be
average
mobile.
Well, we have been
You
mobile.
have to be
All
mobile.
the
You
problems
can't
in
join
this
up like
country
this.
have come
But you
from
know-
the government because we
Right.
are sovereign.
Guys,
But
we're going to run out of time.
Okay.
I'm sorry to do this. We're just getting into it. I might have to lose a couple of other subjects. I'd like to know what our viewers and listeners are thinking about this at the moment. Can we cross over to what cathedral are you in, Ricky?
I'm in Norwich Cathedral.
Norwich, OK.
Now, next to Helter Skelter.
I beg your pardon?
The Helter Skelter.
Good, yeah,
Which,
the Helter
What do you
Skelter.
think about it?
No.
They brought hell into a church.
I think actually churches would be far better used rather than peddling what they peddle or all the other. You know, I don't like religion. I'm not a religious person.
No.
I think that they would be far better turning them into theme parks. There we are.
I
think
agree
it's
with
a
you.
very good idea.
Wholeheartedly. You could
So
do
what
the
do you
little
think about that?
The duck chasing
Yeah.
where you get baptised.
Do all of that? Yeah.
Make all
Yeah.
the space.
What have you got?
Well, I have to be honest. About 90% of the comments have been in some way related to Rod Stewart. I don't know why though. I'm quite confused.
Probably saying Charlie could do one of those look-alike shows.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
very
yeah.
convincingly. Yeah, very much so. Patricia on Facebook, she wants to know what crystal ball do you have, Mr. Plumber? Very formal.
Yeah, Mr. Plummer.
OK, yeah, not a problem. It's not a crystal ball, it's just common sense. As Gemma said here, that for 40 years we've been quite successful. Why would we want to jeopardise that? Why would you want to shut the door on 500 million customers? It's just pointless. There's going to be security issues, there's going to be travel issues, there's going to be job losses, there's going to be a drop in house prices. Why would
there
you...
isn't one positive, is there? It's all negative.
That's right. Why would you take the chance of leaving the EU when we've been OK from it? And
Because on the telly here, we look like 3 pigs in a trough. We look like an elite.
I'm glad you said 3 and not 4. That's
I
good.
just
such a load
what
of
we're talking
rubbish.
about here is the more people talk about Remain, which is predominantly a metropolitan phenomenon,
just rubbish.
the more
That
embarrassing
is
it is for the people of West
rubbish.
Bromwich. I apologise, being from the Midlands, this, and one of the reasons why I'm a Brexiteer is the damage, the 2-tier system it has brought between the metropolitan and other areas of the country. It
this
has
whole
caused
class
a
thing as
terrible...
well is
it is a
hilarious.
terrible, terrible problem. It's not a class
Absolute
issue, it's an economic issue.
Johnny, I didn't mean
It's an economic issue.
But
There wouldn't be a Peterborough
John,
Plumbers.
let me just say...
There wouldn't be...
There would be
you
a
know,
Peterborough
If you
Plumbers.
There wouldn't be a Wakefield Plumbers.
So
You
if
are
we-
lucky to be in
Johnny,
London.
If we're heading for a recession, are you still prepared then
Yes,
that we leave with no
at any
jobs?
cost, we need to
Really?
undo
So
this.
recession means job losses. Recession means...
We need to
Why? Why
recalibrate
do we need-
our economy because every area of the country except London and parts of Manchester Island
But that's the
are
government,
poor.
it's not the EU.
And are poor for
100%.
generations.
There are, Johnny,
Go
Johnny,
to West
just a minute,
Bromwich.
Johnny.
Go to Dewsbury.
No, never mind about going north, west, or anywhere. Some
And
poorest places in London
Correct.
and the surrounds of
Correct.
London. Very poor places.
Correct.
Ricky's
And
back
the
in.
South
Hang on,
East.
Ricky's back in Norwich. He's got some more thoughts from the viewers.
Is going to help any
Yes.
of those
Yeah, I was
poor
gonna say,
parts of
Just a
society.
minute, ladies and
Walk
gentlemen.
away.
All right, Gemma, you can have your say in a minute.
All right.
Please, Gemma, could you not hit him as well? Because last time we get into trouble for that.
Susie had just messaged on Facebook and she wants to know why is there so much talk and no action going on. I think she might have tuned into the wrong station. it's a talk radio. I don't know if you've... it's in the
Actually,
name.
I think, I don't know about any of you, Charlie, what do you think? You know Boris. I think there is work going on about this behind the scenes. We're not party to everything that's going on.
I'm sure there is. I'm sure there is. But for 3 years we've gone nowhere on it, and rightly they've already said they're not prepared to negotiate. I mean, when are they going to get the point that there's no more negotiation?
Supposing we get to the 31st of October and the government leave without any deal, what will you do?
Well, probably like everybody else, will be banging on number 10 down the street, screaming their heads off. You know, there'd be riots on the streets. You can't just sort of leave, you know, on the basis of no deal. Where can you just do that?
It's basically Project
There'd be
Fear
riots on the
has
streets.
become the political sort of policy. You know, so everything they said, it'll be the easiest deal, you know, they need us. They're completely misunderstanding the point of the EU as well. And also
Which is
this
a
idea...
dictatorship.
Oh, it isn't. But, you know, the other thing is, we are the EU. We are
in Europe. Geographically, we're part of Europe.
It's just a nice membership.
What are you going to do,
We are
Gemma,
also-
if we leave on the 31st of October with no deal? How will it affect you?
I'll just be really gutted and upset. I'll be gutted for my mum. My mum lives in
dear.
Italy. Well, you know, I don't expect anyone to feel
Italy's
sorry
not
for
doing
me.
so well now, but...
No, it isn't. My mum is English and lives in Italy with her Italian husband and doesn't know quite what her status will be. It's a bit of a stress. And you know what? I'll be all right. I will be okay. I'm sort of relatively middle class. I've got a house. I've got 2 kids. I worry a bit about things living through a recession and things being difficult for them. But I'm all right. But I genuinely do care about a lot of the poorer people who probably voted, some of them leave, and are going to be out of jobs.
I'm going to pop back over to Norwich Cathedral with the Helter Skelter, which I would like, before the end of the show, Ricky, to see you come down.
I can't resist. I don't know if you need a mat or if I can just go down my bare bottom.
You go down on your bare bottom, and that will improve the ratings.
Well, there's been a lot of love for Johnny, I have to say, this evening. Johnny, the Brexiteers are out in full and agreeing with you wholeheartedly. We've got one in from Same to You who says, EU 27 times 500 million, whereas the global Commonwealth is 54 countries, 2.2 billion. Maths, anyone? So is it just a case of maths? Is that what it is?
No, it's not.
Why not?
We've got to deal with the Faroe Islands, haven't we? And you know,
Oh, that'd be good.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it?
we'll
Liam
get
Fox,
killer
big
whales.
headlines for that. And also, you know, so essentially it's like, well, we're going to go and do this amazing trade deal with the US. Well, let's see about that.
I mean,
America
does
first.
anybody believe Donald Trump, what he's saying then? We're going to have a great trade
Also,
deal with him?
like, Brexit is just a big negative
You see,
abstract.
we've got to take a break, but part of me wants us to crash out so that I can turn round to people like Johnny and see,
and go, what's
you know,
so great
look
about
at that,
this?
Johnny. Look what you've done to this country. Look what you've caused. Think about it. We'll be back after these words.
Thank you in 20 years.
Welcome back. I'm just having a little chat with the panel here. Yeah, a bit low on the bed. Thank you very much indeed. I could hear it very loud in my ears. Right, Gemma Forte, broadcaster, is here giving a lot of stick to our guests. Johnny Gould, broadcaster, and of course the legendary Charlie Mullins, OBE and founder of Pimlico Plumbers. And over in Norwich Cathedral, because it's been making the news, a lot of churches found nobody wants to go there. Not really surprising, I suppose. And so they're now turning them into fun fairs. Is that right, Ricky?
You're right, and I'm having loads of fun here. I still haven't worked out whether it's with a mat, bare bottom, or, you know, for fun. I haven't quite worked it out yet.
Ricky?
Yeah?
It's only 7:25. I don't think we want to be talking about your bare bottom. Let's talk about somebody who has annoyed me intently this week. And also, I tried to get an interview with the editor of the Radio Times, but he's frightened to talk to me as well. Michael Burke, who is who is a broadcaster, apparently works on Radio 4 occasionally, but he came out this week in an article in the Radio Times, and he said to save money for the NHS, maybe they shouldn't treat fat people, and maybe they should let them die. Now, that's stupid enough. Obviously, he's not working much anymore, but the most stupid thing is, why would you put an article that says something so ridiculous as that in the Radio Times? Is it time for the BBC to go? I wonder. Gemma, I can see you thinking about this. Should we let fat people die?
No, I think I kind of felt two things when I heard this story. The first thing I thought is it's a ridiculous thing to say, because the whole point of the NHS and why we're so lucky to have it and should value it is because anybody can get treated when they have a heart attack, or they smoke, or they drink, or they collapse in the street, or whatever, and that is the point.
Maybe we should let people who smoke die, or people who eat too much sweet stuff.
But then on the flip side of that, and that is totally what I think on that point, but on the flip side of that, I thought it was quite interesting, because we're all very politically correct about weight and everything, that maybe it gave a little jab into thinking, I guess we have to be accountable for our own health a little bit. And whilst certainly people can have some major issues to do with eating, emotional eating, I think it's quite difficult to be slim these days, the portion size that we get.
Don't have to eat it all.
Exactly. And I put on a bit of weight recently, like last year. Not massive amount, but enough that I couldn't get into my
Nobody say
dresses.
anything.
No, right. The point is, I was on a show with a nutritionist, and I thought I'm going to get some free advice. And she was quite blunt. She sort of did me what would
Did she
people
say
would pay
you're
for an hour.
obese, or?
Yeah, she said, "You fat cow." No, she didn't. She said, "How old are you?" I said, "I'm 45," and she said, she was quite cutting. She went, "Party's over. Eat half what you eat now. Double the exercise. Stop drinking." That was it. That was it. And I think we can get. And I was like, okay. So, I have
Listen,
lost a bit of
you
weight
have
since
to
then.
be what you're going to be, and some people just don't really care, I suppose. Other people do. Some people... But you don't say stuff... I mean, I say some pretty... It's OK to be rude about fat people, and it's OK to be rude about bald people. But eventually that'll stop. Johnny...
I went to my doctor for one of those 50 checkups. They say nothing wrong with you.
50 checkups.
I am 50. Two. And so off I went, and the nurse was very nice to me, and she said, "You've got a great pair of lungs, you have, and you've got a good heart, you've got good blood pressure, but this is all under threat from your family and their diabetes." Okay, and she basically laid it on the line that I had a 37% chance of getting diabetes, and they ran this algorithm, very complicated algorithm, which is being developed around the world, which calculates literally millions and millions of different health comparisons on bodies, and mine came up as a probability very highly that all this good work that I've cultivated with good lungs and good blood pressure could be ruined. And she gave me an ultimatum, but it was something that I could reach for. Basically, she said, lose weight and spend 2 years doing it. By the time you're in your early 50s, mid-50s, I want you to be 1.5 stone to 2 stone lighter. I have begun the process. I'm thinking about the food I'm eating. I'm thinking about what it's doing in its journey through my body.
You must be great fun at dinner parties.
No, but
I
I'm
imagine
trying,
you're a lot of fun.
Because for the first 50 years I didn't. I was great party fodder. I used to do everything.
Don't let them worry you, because you might end up with a heart attack with a worry about dying from being too fat. So you've got to be very careful.
Corollary.
I took my kids to Disney for a couple of days, right? That was our little summer holiday. And there were some larger families there, and I don't think anything of it. And then until I see maybe much larger kids, and then that makes me feel a bit sad. And my sister works for Sport England. She specialises in behavioural change, and that's definitely needed.
I don't know whether it's worth talking to you about this, Charlie, because you're probably the thinnest person here. Oh, sorry, apart from Gemma. I'm sorry.
But actually, it is worth talking to me. Hair. It is worth talking to me because you know I don't think you can start killing people off because they're fat. No. You know, that's for sure. What you can do is give them more help and give them more advice. And I think that's an absolutely ridiculous sort of remark to make, and probably worrying because. It's just stupidity. A lot of
he has achieved us talking about it, and that must be good.
But James, a lot of fat people, a lot of overweight people are very conscious of it, and you know, a lot of them are probably already thinking, you know, maybe I want to kill myself, commit suicide, and to come out with something like that, it's just
what people don't
crazy.
know, and they should know, is that Charlie, at Charlie's place of work, he looks after his staff remarkably well. They have a gym, they even have a spa, more or less, don't they? When you go, if you want to be a plumber,
they have a massage.
That's the place. Yeah, massage,
it's so nice
gym.
To have a gym at work, because a lot of people, it's time, isn't it? By the time you finish work, you're knackered. You just want to go more.
Could Gemma and Johnny use your gym?
It's for.
I've got an account with Pimlico.
Have you? Yeah. This is for.
Well, got a boiler in for
anyway, moving on. Can't do that. Ricky, got anything coming in on media?
Yeah, absolutely. I've just had a good go on the Dodgems on the graveyard outside. Lovely fun in my cathedral in Norwich.
I think that's slightly disrespectful, but OK.
But a helter-skelter in church isn't. Fun. Jim Royal, presumably not the Jim Royal from the royal family, he says, calm down, James, we know you're rattled, but Michael Burke doesn't run the NHS. And it's a good point, you do get very rattled these days, James.
Rattled?
Yeah, rattled.
I'm far more moderate than I used to be.
Right.
Far more moderate.
And why are you so upset by Michael Burke? You used to say way worse than Michael Burke.
Well, I know.
So why are you upset by him?
Well, if I want to be upset by Michael Burke, I'll be upset by Michael Burke. You can sit there in your flipping cathedral, by your helter-skelter, and shush. Thank you very
I
much.
think his weight might be a little...
My weight's fine, by the way.
No, but I'm saying this, James,
yeah.
you're...
Oh, his weight,
No,
yeah.
you're in between, aren't you?
In between what?
In between looking right and
Listen,
looking fat.
Is a
if
yo-yo
you're
dieter.
as fit as I am when you're my age, you'll be fine. One more comment from Ricky.
Marco131, he says, what about fat tax instead? I mean, could that work?
Well, actually,
Is that possible?
I do get fed up with fat people taking up too many seats on trains, aeroplanes and buses. That is a very good point. Maybe they should pay twice.
It creeps on, doesn't it? And I do think, as you say, being overweight is one thing, but if it goes that bit far, I think it's very difficult to bring it back.
I mean, we should be encouraging people to go to the gym.
Yeah.
Well, I've never been... Well, I did go to the gym for a bit, but anyway. Right, what are we going to talk about next? Right, I don't really want to talk about this. In fact, I think I might go home or back upstairs to my radio studios for the next bit. But, what are you... You've rattled me not. I'm just annoyed about this. A survey's come out and says the... Excuse me, I know what's... Right. I've got a director who's going absolutely mental at the moment because he wants to have a hairdo like yours, so be careful. Anyway, a report has come out that Britain is ageist and that people in Britain use ageist language regularly, that they're rude to old people. So I thought for this, obviously, I should go to Johnny Gould first.
These last two stories are exactly the same thing. Michael Burke going on about fat people that we shouldn't treat and disrespecting elderly people are exactly the same story. This identity politics, be it about your age, your religion, the colour of your skin, your religion, it's got to stop. And
I agree with you.
The way to stop this identity politics, which is a gateway to racism, and it's not even a gateway sometimes, identity politics just is, in my opinion, plain racism, is to start talking about what binds us. And what binds us, I hope, is being British. And people laugh at the idea of British values, but there are things which are British.
Oh, shut
There
up.
are freedom.
Right, all right, Johnny.
No,
Johnny, you're on your soapbox.
This is
Hang on,
really important.
Hang on a minute, come back to this.
No, this is not... I don't want to be laughed at here,
well,
but we do all
Gemma's
believe
laughing.
in certain universal values of freedom and democracy and liberty. Let's
so
hold
are
on
you
to
saying
those
people
things.
should be free to call you an old so-and-so?
Well, you have,
No, I
and you're
haven't.
British too, so I suppose so.
I'm half Welsh. Anyway, listen, Gemma, in Italy, people actually respect their elders. And we don't here, do we?
It is a slightly different cultural sort of attitude. And I think actually in other parts of Europe as well, such as Greece and Spain, and then apparently in the more sort of countries like Russia and Slovakia, I think people get to a certain age and it's almost put them out to tender. In Italy, traditionally, well, not quite, but in Italy, traditionally, you would move your parents in, you would be in charge of their health towards the end of their life. But by the same token, while you're raising your children, the grandparents would be much, much more hands-on. That is changing a bit. And I don't know, I've always thought that us Brits are quite good to our elderly and respectful.
Charlie, you and I are older than we look, obviously, because we are particularly young at heart. Ricky, you can shut up in Norwich as well. Do you think we are an ageist society?
I don't think so. I think things are changing. I think more and more old people are coming back into the workplace because of the skill shortage.
What was the oldest guy that you used to employ?
Well, he was 97 when he joined us, and he died when he was 104. 104.
I got a builder to renovate my house, and I saw 4 builders. I'm on my own, so I was very didn't want to get conned. And I saw various guys, and they'd do these big spreadsheets and everything. And then the bloke that I hired was 82 and had Parkinson's, and they did the whole house in 5 months. And he was completely honest and did it all within budget. Loveliest man you've ever met.
And you know, one of the problems with younger people, I'm sorry about this, I'll come to you in a minute, Ricky, you are younger. One of the problems is that a lot of people now, is it the snowflake generation or the one after that or whatever, they're so intent on being offended by everything the whole time. Yet we live in a fairly rough society, don't we? It's a kind of strange dichotomy. Yet they don't show the sort of respect that maybe you should show to somebody who's probably been there, done what you're thinking you're doing at the moment. We don't do that in this country. And in this report, it says one of the things people find offensive is quite often somebody will say to someone like Charlie, you look amazing for your age. I mean, I get that every day.
Really?
I mean, Do you find that offensive? I don't mind.
Not at all.
No.
Why would I?
No,
How
exactly.
old are you, James?
I'm slightly older than you. Ricky, can you hear me back in Norwich?
I can hear you, James. I just want to point out something here, that everyone's talking about ageism kind of going up towards elderly people, but I think we do have ageism going down as well. If you look at any of the newspapers, every single day they go in on millennials, they go in on snowflakes, which is now having to wear a snowflake with pride, because we are absolutely battered down every single day.
Are you a snowflake, Ricky?
I would say I'm not a snowflake, but for the point of this conversation, I'll say yes.
How old are you, Ricky?
I'm 25.
God, what are you going to look like when you get to...
I've had a rough life, I know. No, the point is, but that is ageist. Now, like you said before, if you were to say to me, this happens, I'd say, on a weekly basis, at some point, someone will come home and say, oh, this young man can help you with that. Oh, this young man can do that. With a bit of disdain in the voice as well.
That doesn't happen to you, Ricky.
No, it does.
You don't look a young man.
But they don't mean it in a bad way. But it's kind of not. You're not a real man. You're kind of a half man. Whereas if I came over to you, James, and said, "Old man, can you help me with something?" Or even in a different tone.
You've done that many times, Ricky.
I know.
So let's not get over
But that's what I'm saying. So is that offensive? I mean, I don't like being called a young man.
I don't get offended.
Too much of it. I think we make too much of it. It's just a throwaway comment. It's nothing, is it?
I think things are getting easier for women. I think that, even 20 years ago, I probably wouldn't be on telly. It was almost like, you're done now.
Well, 20 years ago, you'd have been on telly. It's just
20 years
now.
ago I was on telly.
Well, yeah,
exactly. I still am doing stuff, but I think there's more of a place in, I'm talking about media because it's the industry I know more, but of sort of women of a certain age on telly, which is encouraging.
Well, I think people have been very drawn to being much younger and much hipper for a long time, but I think it's changing, and one of the reasons it's changing is that we're running out of young people. And so there aren't that many young people coming. Where is the next Johnny Gould?
Well, hopefully it'll be me for a bit longer.
Experience counts for a lot. A lot of people don't write their best book or write their, an amazing song or whatever until they've got a bit of life under their belt.
Well, you just said there, Jenny, there's no substitute for experience, and that's for sure. And that's for sure.
Well, we're all harmonious. This is wonderful. We won't last for long, of course. Ricky, got anything else? Snowflake?
There's people that are trying to ban me from the show. Just trying to... and someone else wants to buy my socks, which I assume is a reference to him having socks which are older than me. So.
What sort of socks have you got?
Well, I mean, they're not a pair. I didn't realise my socks were going to be on camera, but there's a car on one. Nice yellow car.
OK, fine. All right. Listen, we've got to go for a break. Thank you very much indeed. Get in touch the usual ways. And if you want to talk about this more, of course, when we get back after the 8 o'clock news, I'll be back on the radio, but not on the television as well. And you can call me about this. Are we ready to go into the break? Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it, guys. We're back. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you. At least I hope we're just back. Anyway, welcome back to James Whale Breaks the News on TV and radio. Now, we'll be back with the panel in a few moments, but I thought, like all TV shows which talk about sort of current affairs and news, you now have to throw in a bit of music, and the Andrew Marr show had something a bit sort of highbrow. So I thought I should have something fairly similar. I'm so old that I can remember Tonight with Cliff Mitchell more. And he used to have a calypso singer on it called Cy Grant. I thought, what a great idea. I would love to do that. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Scott Freeman. He's going to sing a song all about our esteemed leader and Prime Minister, Mr. Boris Johnson. Scott, take it away.
1, 2, 3, 4. Where were you when you heard the news, baby? I was there on the loo, thinking about how Boris is a waste of space, and if it's too late to get out of this country now. So, who wants to live under a racist thug? Yeah, who made the Union Jack ashamed of us? Oh, we didn't need our equivalent of Trump. But hey, Boris is here to stay, and his policy is hypocrisy. Empty words as he decrees. Poor Nazanin is overseas, training terror cells. Doesn't that ring alarm bells that a racist, sexist, bigoted clown has ended up our Prime Minister somehow? Oh yeah! Where were you when you heard the news, baby? I was taking a number 2 and contemplating desecrating the statue of King Boris when it's erected. Oh! And he's got a cabinet of corner shop piss and a record as a trashy columnist. 350 mil of faulty promises. Oh, but hey, Boris is here to stay, and he's dragging us towards no deal. So say goodbye to regular meals, 'cause Brexit is a wrecking ball, and doesn't that sound good? Oh, Boris is so misunderstood as a fumbling, tumbling, jumped up fool who's got no idea what to do about anything, but especially about Brexit.
Well, Cliff Mitchellmore wouldn't have booked him.
No. Yes, well, thank you for that, Scott. And I do apologise, Prime Minister, if I'd known. Can you do something about Brexit? Something nice about Brexit, Scott? Can't you do something else?
Something nice about
Brexit?
Yeah,
something nice. Yeah, something, sing a nice song about Brexit. Come on.
I'm not sure there is anything.
Oh, I'm sure you can do something nice. Something. Have you got a Brexit tune or something?
One thing and it's not polite, is it?
I don't know. I've written some songs about Theresa May.
Have you? No. The Clash.
The Clash.
Yeah, do you know that one? Should I stay or should I go?
I could do that.
Could you do that one?
I could do that indeed.
That might actually just placate the rest of it. Yeah, go on then, do that.
To the lyrics as well.
Yeah. You're not making up your own lyrics to this, are you?
I'll try not to.
Good. Okay, fine. Yeah.
Cool. Here we go. Darling, you got to let me know. Should I stay or should I go? If you say that you are mine, I'll be here till the end of time. So you got to let me know. Or should I stay or should I go? It's always tease, tease, tease. Next thing you got me on my knees. One day it's blue, the next is black. So if you want me off your back, come on and let me know. Or should I stay or should I go? Or should I stay or should I go now? Or should I stay or should I go now? Oh, if I stay there will be trouble, but if I go there will be double. Oh yeah. Come on and let me know. This indecision's killing me. If you don't want me, set me free. Exactly who I'm supposed to be. Do you know which clothes even fit me? I know. I said, come on and let me know. Or should I stay or should I go? Or should I stay or should I go now? Should I stay or should I go now? If I stay there will be trouble. If I go there will be double. So come on and let me know. Should I stay or should I go?
Yeah, thank you, Scott. Very, very good. Very entertaining. We've had number 10 on the phone, and I think actually you better come and help. The door's over there, Scott. Thank you very much. Yeah, fine. Okay. This isn't going to be another one of those. When I asked Lemmy from Motorhead to leave my TV show back in the 90s, all over YouTube, But anyway, Scott's gone. The security have taken him out now. Thank you very much indeed. That was Scott Freeman. To the Tower of London?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't a double A side, that was it?
What?
Those 2 tracks.
Do you not like that?
Well, the second track is certainly redemption.
I like a bit of Clash myself. Now, let's talk about eating meat, because the United Nations say if we gave up eating meat, we would all save the planet. Now, I think there's a lot of rubbish spoken about this, saving the planet. It really is annoying me. I think we should keep the planet clean. I think we should get rid of all the rubbish we have, particularly in this country. You come back from other parts of Europe and you see the filth all over the streets. It's disgusting. But, you know, if we're really in this climate change emergency, stop the aeroplanes, stop the boats, stop the cars, do it now! And stop eating meat. You won't, will you?
Lots of
Johnny.
people have.
Oh, sorry, Gemma.
Sorry, no.
No,
Johnny.
Gemma, please.
Johnny,
No,
Johnny.
Gemma, you want to
No.
talk? Please, no. I nearly was going to be sexist and say ladies first. I do beg your pardon. Gemma, please.
All right, do you mind?
No, please.
Okay.
Ladies first.
No, I think so. Loads and loads of people are eating less meat,
And I think you should.
And it is obviously the methane, isn't it, from the cows? And apparently, the two most useful things you can do as an individual to help the climate change emergency, which is happening right now, is vote for politicians.
How do you know it's happening right now?
Well, because of science.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, well.
You know, things like the polar bears slipping off the ice and drowning, all that.
They've always done that.
Things like, did you notice it was 42 degrees the other day in Paris? Like, not normal. Yeah, no, it's getting hotter.
Yeah.
And things like,
Not
you
that
know,
hot,
parts of
yes.
Miami going underwater and things. Anyway.
Yeah, but that's always going to happen.
No, it's not.
Yes, a
It
couple
is-
of thousand
but-
years ago, the sea level was a lot higher.
Two things you can do is vote for politicians who can actually put legislation in to do the really big stuff, which we don't really have any power over. And the other one is eat less red meat or cut it out. My daughter's cut it out for the
Do you
environment.
know how we could change... This, I'm quite serious. I think we eat too much meat. I think you package meat like it doesn't come from a living thing, and I think that's wrong. And I think part of education at some point... I went to a school where we went to an abattoir when I was I think I was about 13 or 14.
Yes.
And that does make you think quite a lot.
Yeah.
And I think people need to know, if you're going to eat meat, that's killing a living thing.
I think that's absolutely right. The more we package these things and stick them in a supermarket underneath of cellophane, we are removed as civvies, really, from that sort of farming, rural generation of 3 and 4 generations back. I am an ecologist. I do believe in looking
you're
after
a bit
the
of
planet,
everything, aren't you?
But I am not a climate science believer, because I think if you substitute the word science and call it consensus, that is a little bit more nearer the truth, and then you suddenly get these movements asking us to eat less meat to save the planet. Where does that come from?
Johnny, 90%
You know,
of scientists agree that it is
and therein lies my point.
Hang on, just a minute. Our link with Norwich is getting very... I can't hear Norwich. Sorry.
Sorry, can you hear
Sorry,
me now?
Johnny.
Sorry,
No,
I'll
I can't.
I'll climb to the top of the Helter Skelter.
It's the best thing to come out of Norwich since Nicholas Parsons. It really is. But there you see, you've said exactly what upholding what I'm saying, which is that if 90% of scientists believe it, that's consensus. That's not science.
Well,
What about the
there
10%
is
of
so
skeptics?
much science to prove it.
It isn't. It is consensus.
I think it's getting ridiculous. So all of a sudden you've not got the cows and the sheep, and so what do you do with the land? You sort of grow vegetables, that's what's behind
Exactly.
it. And then to get the land, you pull the trees up, so everything's bad for the environment. I won't say the word what I think is, but it's stupid. It's stupid.
That'll do. That's
You
a
know
good
what,
word.
Though? Just think of your bottom as well. Too much red
It's
meat
true.
going through your system, it's not good.
That's
and actually,
Gemma,
if you just
please.
eat a little bit
I mean-
now and again,
you
like
can't-
they did back in the day when it was really, really
Gemma,
expensive,
but you
so it
can't
was a
have butter, you
treat.
can't eat this, you can't do that. It's
No,
nonsense.
no,
you
listen,
can't drink coffee.
No, you
I
can
mean,
do whatever you like, because we
Yeah,
still
but-
live in a
but-
free
but-
country, and you can do whatever you
But
like.
do we really listen to all these people? Let's
Well,
be
my
honest.
I think we do eat
daughter's
too
14, and
meat.
a lot of her
Don't you think we eat
classmates
too
have.
much meat?
I don't think so. I've never
No?
seen a
I've
problem
cut
with it.
right back, and I feel a bit
And
better
it's so
for it.
cheap.
And now it's a treat. So I'll have a burger once a month, and it's like, oh my god, that's so good. But not 3-4 times a week. And my daughter's Apollo pescatarian, and
A
you
what?
can sniff. So she's going to go veggie.
Yeah,
I
but
said
she's
not until
eating
you're
fish.
fully grown. No, I said I'm not. I would prefer you because you need the amino acids in certain proteins for your bones and all that business. So she's eating chicken and fish till she's 18. That's the deal. And she's 14, so you can be dismissive and oh, you don't know anything. She came to me with a list. She said, this is why I don't want to eat meat. This, less cancers, this, and the environment. What could I say? Yeah, of course, fine. She's very healthy.
Let me
very
go
sporty.
over to Norwich now, as everybody's gone quiet. All the two gentlemen on the panel have gone very quiet. And as Gemma said, listen, guys, Gemma said, think about your bottoms. Talking of which, have you been on the Helter Skelter
Yes.
yet or not?
No, not yet. I'm going to treat myself at the end of the show. Well, a lot of people have gone in on me for mentioning the 90% of scientists who agree that man is speeding up climate change. So thank you for the hate so far. And a lot of other
Well,
people...
of course, man is speeding it up, but man is natural. Everything changes the climate. The dinosaurs change the
but you
climate.
say it's
Everything
natural.
does.
The amount of animals that we are breeding for consumption. That isn't natural. We are doing that.
Well, then let's all stop it.
Well, that's exactly the point. That's the story.
No. Let's start doing. If you believe that, right, it's not going to happen, is it? It's not going to work. People won't be told what to eat. Someone's going to have to say, right, we're only going to produce so much meat. It's going to be much more expensive. Most of us can only afford it once a week. Yeah, probably be a good idea.
But when they start using stem cells from cows and pigs, and it's grown in a lab, you literally won't need the animals anymore because we'll just mass produce it.
But
so they are going to go anyway.
Hang on, even if it's grown in a lab, it'll still be bad for you, won't it?
Oh, it's probably still be bad for you, but it won't be bad for the climate.
No,
probably not as bad,
point,
at least.
People are making more informed choices. We didn't even hear the word vegan 10 years ago, and now, there is supermarkets are selling those products because there is a demand for them.
Yeah,
so people are changing the way
food provenance is an absolutely vital part of our society. And if you look at how dominant supermarkets are within it, you will occasionally want to reach out for a farmer's market near yourself to try and at least buy food which is a little bit closer to the food chain.
Elite.
Or looks like food.
No, it's not elite. That looks a little bit like the food that's not processed.
Yeah.
I don't want to eat pot noodle for the rest of my life. I want something a bit closer to the food chain.
Yeah.
Well, I think pot noodle's probably very good for you when I think about it. Ricky, anything else apart from people being beastly to you?
No. I mean, there's a lot of ill-informed comments coming my way, which...
Well, give us a couple so I know what sort of things people are saying to you.
Apparently vegetables are full of chemicals, which I guess they could be.
And if we all ate the vegetables, that would, take away from all that CO2 or carbon monoxide that they absorb. So we'd be in a very difficult position, wouldn't we, if we eat them all?
This is a very strange argument. We're in such a great position at the moment in terms of, also, hate to bring it back, but the wonderful food standards that we have that we're about to just go. And then if we do a trade deal with America, apparently one of the big negotiating points that they want to make is that those go. So you're going to get their rather rank chicken and hormone-fed beef. I'm not going to be eating that then.
No. If we did sort of deals and get the food we've got, what's your favourite meal?
Steak, chips and onions.
Steak, chips and onions. Yours, Gemma?
Well, it depends on the mood.
What mood are you in now, Gemma?
Right now, a spaghetti vongole would be good.
Okay.
Clams,
you know
so
those clams
nice.
are not good for you
White
as well.
wine, garlic.
And, Johnny?
Before midday, porridge with cream.
Porridge with cream. Okay. Ricky?
A veggie sausage for me, please, James.
I'll just have a curry. Okay, thank you very much indeed. Yeah, I like the curry. I'd like to have, I think I'd like to have a jalfrezi. That's what I'm going to have at the moment. Now, listen, thank you very much indeed. We've had loads of response today. Thank you for that. We'll be back with the TV radio show next Friday, same time. Hope you can join us then. I'm now going to take a break, pop upstairs and do the next couple of hours on the radio to Johnny Gould, to Gemma Forte, to Charlie Mullins and what's his face over there. We've just got no time to see him come down the slide, which is a great shame, but never mind. See you next week. Thank you very much indeed. Stay tuned to Talk Radio.